The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. Before we begin, I will note that I've experienced firsthand the effects of the perfect courtier. This law alone will bring you great success with power and seduction, if done correctly. Also in this book, the word master refers to anyone who has significant pull over an outcome that you desire. With your boss, you desire the income. If you're an entrepreneur, then the people are your masters because they provide what you need in order for you to reach your desired goal. This is the exact same for those who want to simply gain power or succeed in seduction. A quick clarification that I see many people misguided on. Simply put, power is influence. Seduction is a subtype form of power. Seduction doesn't translate to sex or romance. It translates to pleasure, and power is gained from people. Influence is gained from people. If you were the only person alive, gaining power would be impossible. In a nutshell, on your path to gaining power, people will often be your master. So play the perfect role. Play the perfect courtier. A quick overview. The perfect courtier has mastered the art of indirection. He flatters, yields to superiors, and asserts power over others in the most oblique and graceful manner. Great courtiers have mastered the science of manipulating people. They make the king feel more kingly. They are magicians of appearance, knowing most things are judged by how they seem, gracious and polite. Their aggression is veiled and indirect. They never say more than necessary, getting the most out of a compliment or hidden insult. They are magnets of pleasure. There may be no more sun kings, but there are still plenty of people who believe the sun revolves around them. The laws of the perfect courtier. The last law is the greatest of the list because it's the core of the perfect courtier. Avoid ostentation. It's never prudent to prattle on about yourself or call too much attention to your actions, stirring up enough insecurity and envy to induce treachery and backstabbing. Be ever so careful in trumpeting your own achievements, and always talk less about yourself than about other people. Practice nonchalance. Never seem to be working too hard. Your talent must appear to flow naturally, with an ease that makes people take you for a genius rather than a workaholic. Even if something demands a lot of sweat, make it look effortless. This is another form of ostentation. People prefer to not see your blood. Be frugal with flattery. Too much of even a good thing loses its value. It also stirs up suspicion among your peers. Learn to flatter indirectly by downplaying your own contribution. For example, bursting with admiration, you confess that you would never have seen the problem that the king had so masterfully found and solved. Arrange to be noticed. A paradox. You cannot display yourself so brazenly, yet you must also get yourself noticed. You stand no chance of rising if the ruler does not notice you in the swamp of courtiers. Pay attention to your physical appearance, then find a way to create a subtly distinctive style and image. Alter your style and language according to the person you are dealing with. A terrible mistake is talking and acting the same way with everyone, no matter their rank. Those below you would take it as a form of condescension, which it is, and those above you will be offended. You must change your style and your way of speaking to suit each person. This is not lying, it is acting, and acting is an art. Learn the art. Never assume that your criteria of behavior and judgment are universal, and realize that the inability to adapt puts you at a great disadvantage. Never be the bearer of bad news. The king kills the messenger who brings the bad news. If necessary, lie and cheat to be sure that the bearer of bad news falls on a colleague, never on you. Bringing only good news, your approach will gladden your master. Never affect friendliness and intimacy with your master. If he or she chooses to deal with you on this level, assume a friendliness of caution. Otherwise, err in the opposite direction and make the distance between you clear. Never criticize those above you directly. There are times when criticism is necessary. To say nothing or to give no advice will open you up to risk of another sort. Couch your advice and criticism as indirectly and as politely as possible. Think twice or 3 times before deciding. Err on the side of subtlety and gentleness. Be frugal in asking those above you for favors. Nothing irritates a master more than having to reject someone's request. It stirs up guilt and resentment. Ask for favors as rarely as possible and know when to stop. It is always better to earn your favors so that the ruler bestows them willingly. Most important, do not ask for favors on another person's behalf, least of all of friends. Never joke about appearances or taste. A lively wit and a humorous disposition are essential qualities for a good courtier, and there are times when vulgarity is appropriate. Appearance and taste, 2 highly sensitive areas. Don't even try it when you are away from them. You will dig your own grave. Do not be the court cynic. Express admiration. If you constantly criticize, some of that criticism will rub off on you, hovering over you like a gray cloud wherever you go. By expressing modest admiration for others' achievements, you indirectly call attention to your own. Obtain the ability to express wonder and amazement, and seem like you mean it. Be self-observant. You need a mirror to your actions. Other people are not the most trustworthy method. You must be the mirror, to see yourself as others see you. Are you acting too obsequious? Are you trying too hard to please? Do you seem desperate for attention, giving the impression you are on the decline? Be observant about yourself, avoiding a mountain of blunders. Master your emotions. As an actor in a great play, you must learn to cry and laugh on command, and when it is appropriate. You must be able to both disguise your anger and frustration, and to fake your contentment and agreement. You must be the master of your own face. You must be the perfected actor. Fit the spirit of the times. A slight affectation of the past era can be charming, as long as you choose a period at least 20 years back. 10 years ago is ludicrous, risking your role of becoming the court jester. Be too forward-thinking, and no one will understand you. Mimic. Your spirit and way of thinking must keep up with the times. Be a source of pleasure. This is critical. We will flee what is unpleasant and distasteful. Charm and the promise of delight will draw us, like moths to a flame. Become the flame, and you will rise to the top. Being as indispensable as food and drink, we can all control our unpleasant qualities. And remember to never inadvertently stir up the resentment of one in pleasing another. Wax, a substance naturally hard and brittle, can be made soft by the application of a little warmth, so that it will take any shape you please. Being polite and friendly is to human nature what warmth is to wax. The delicate game, a warning. Courtiers deceptively play with appearances, only letting those around them see what they want them to see. Much deception and manipulation. It is essential to keep people from seeing your tricks and glimpsing your sleight of hand. Courtiership is a subtle art. Overlooked traps and inadvertent mistakes can ruin your best tricks. It is a delicate game you play. Apply the utmost attention to covering your tracks. Subscribe, because I will make your life better.